I'll go around with stuff. Today's episode is about the word ideation. And I was watching a streaming service movie last night and looking at all of the, what are the TV ratings up in the corner, left hand corner, they have TV ratings. Smoking, foul language, nudity, sexual content, alcohol use, drug use, and suicide, flashing lights. Anyway, one of them I'd never seen before was suicide ideation. Didn't know what that meant. Suicide ideation, and looked it up, and it's where suicide forms in your mind as an idea. Now, it's ideation. The word is greater, bigger than that. It means that you're forming an idea about something. And I looked up this word ideation, and it's interesting that there are uh, consultants, there are companies who I think probably cater to Fortune 500 companies, and they go in and teach them, certain groups, about the whole concept of ideation. Ideation is where a group gets together and they've got an issue. Let's say we're getting ready to market some sort of new product, be it a cosmetic or an electronic gizmo of some kind, and they want to think about how best to market it, to brand it, that kind of thing. And there's a group, five, six, seven, eight. I don't know what corporate 500 use for that sort of thing, but anyway, they get together and they start kicking ideas around. And I've certainly been in meetings where that was sort of the concept of the meeting, was to get some concepts going about, we wanted to do this. How do we go about it? Okay. Ideation, I hadn't realized that I could be a good ideation, at least initially, because part of the structure of these courses is to try to kick the boundaries out on the minds of those in the group. It had brought up the concept of the stupid question, which I remember in high school or college or whatever, that a lot of times people were afraid to ask a question because it was afraid to be or sound like they were stupid, and the professor or the teacher would say, "Well, that's a stupid question." I mean, Anyway, uh, concept that is a concept of ideation that you have to get around. No question is stupid because we all have formulations and understandings what we think of whatever he threw out. The question is, um, um, can anything travel faster than the speed of light? Okay. Well, everybody knows the answer to that. No. Well, maybe if I ask the question, well, I don't understand then the concept of quantum entanglement, because it seems like things are happening there at faster than the speed of light, because it's in measurable distances, and you can apparently quantum entangle two things at millions of light years apart instantly. Okay. And there was a concept of a wormhole, a bridge, I think it was referred to as, and where a wormhole would bleed out into another one, and if you could pass right through the center of the wormhole, you could have traveled trillions of miles or light years uh, instantly. If that's, I don't have it right, but you see, the point was, it was a stupid question, but it's trying to make people think outside the box, and that widens the ideas that might percolate out of the group participants that are locked into. Everybody has walls. Everybody has concepts and beliefs and theories and all that kind of stuff that is it might be a really large box, but it's still a box. It still has limits to it, and each person's got different limits as to what they have experienced, and some stuff turned out good, some didn't, so they eliminate the things that didn't turn out good. Anyway, the whole concept of ideation. And again, I think I've been in meetings where I just stood up and said, what do you want us to do? Because I don't think we know. What is it you're trying to get at here? What is the focus, the purpose of this meeting? If it is for how do we attract new customers, which is always a good question, and branding, how do you attract new customers? People throw out the standard stuff. Well, we advertise. Well, where do we advertise? And we got the internet now. Is it worthy to be advertised on the internet, or should we do TV ads or radio ads, or who's our client? Here's our potential consumer. Okay, well, the target fits 20 to 30-year-old age group, which is, consumer spending. Yeah, they would be perfect for that. Okay, well, subgroup of that, I don't think that people in the inner city that have a lot of money is going to be for that. Or are we going to target just wealthy people? And what are the thoughts on wealthy people? Well, they don't. You keep expanding and questioning the concepts that everybody has about the stereotypes that we all have about certain things. So I was just amazed that I had never heard the term before, suicide ideation, that there was a woman in a really bad situation, and she had finally, it occurred to her that maybe suicide was her way out of this situation. And it was a really bad situation. And I could see how that could ideate, become an idea in her particular situation. I know there's probably some social norm that you don't even use that word anymore. But then for a long time, no one was ever pregnant. They were with child or some other politically correct term. They weren't referred to as pregnant. And there was a really, 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 really long time before there were any advertisements on television for products geared to women's menstrual cycles. That just wasn't socially acceptable advertisement. I'm sure the people who worked in the industry and the advertising group came together. How do we market this? Maybe it's time to go to television. How do you do that in a manner which is acceptable to people who and talking about such private stuff like that? It's just they took a chance. I went to a marketing course one time, and I thought it was interesting anyway. That this was a consultant, and she'd been working with the tissue people, Kleenex, regular wipe your nose with Kleenex or tissue. And she was saying that the first thing that you'll notice about Kleenex boxes is, by and large, they have flowers and subtle colors. And anyway, she said that is appealing to a woman or a girl, but it does nothing for men. And you're basically saying the only people who buy Kleenex are the women. Now, maybe that's marginally true, but there's no sense excluding men from your marketing campaign. So perhaps you should have some boxes that have manly men stuff on them. Now, what is manly man? That's another whole question. How you define that? We used to have the Marlboro Man was a stereotype definition for a man. He this Marlboro Man. Most people don't. That's when they were advertising cigarettes on television. And what sort of presentation do you make? But anyway, the whole idea of ideation and thinking about something and stretching the boundaries in the boxes and asking a lot of questions, and a lot of stupid questions That's my point. And I'm trying to suggest to you that in your own thinking process, when you're confronted with some sort of problem, that you start, well, maybe I could fix it with a prune, you know? I mean, I've got a hole in a pipe and it's leaking water. Maybe if I shoved a prune in there, that would stop it. No, it goes, no. I'm just saying that you, by thinking about prunes, or maybe you use a butt plug in it, I don't know, it expands the horizon of possible solution sets. That's all. In fact, I think what you're trying to do, and it never occurred to me, what I was trying to do was at least stretch an outer boundary to the left and then to the right. Like if you're talking about political spectrum, you would want to define what is the extreme left, what is the extreme right. The extreme right is Nazis. That's what's been defined there. What is extreme left? I don't have a equivalent. Extreme left is, I don't think it's communism. That is not it. Whatever socialism is, maybe, but I don't think there's ever been what do you call a successful socialist country. I'm not sure there's been an ever successful communist country, other than perhaps if you want to say China is. I guess they're communist. Certainly, it's sort of like a dictatorship to me. I don't know, but they have some vestige, just like we have some vestige of democracy. We have representatives and they make decisions for us and we vote them and things like that. And in China, they have a similar thing, although I think the party selects all of those representatives, if you will. So they toe the party line. And to some extent, we have the same thing in the U.S. because we have Republicans and Democrats and they toe the party line. So I don't know, pick your illusion, whatever one you want. But the point is that you define the outer boundaries. And the outer boundaries, you get pushed farther out than they currently are in your solution set or in any group where you're trying to come up with ideas about something. That you throw out the abstract, the extremes, and they can become an outer boundary, and that lets the space expand a little bit. Well, like Israel and their and all of their enemies that surround them, one solution for that is we just kill them all. We nuke them all. That's an outer boundary. Well, it's not feasible. It's not right. It would never happen. But that forms an outer boundary. So anything up to that can be in the game. Well, we can kill some of them, maybe, or just the leaders, or maybe we try to turn them so they like us instead of being enemies, and we can buy them off. Maybe we do that. I don't know. You expound the left and the right boundaries of a solution set, and the top and the bottom of a solution set during ideation. Ideation is where you're kicking around ideas about probably solving a problem or advancing a concept or something like that. And that's enough of this. I was intrigued by the whole idea of suicide ideation. And then when I looked the word up, and it is a real word that has proponents and people who can consult with your corporate people. I guess maybe you have seen where these corporations, the high muckety muck people, will go out on some retreat and uh, away from the attractions of the office, and they'll drink enough and they let their hair down enough and they try to be open and they try to bring up, well, these are the problems we're currently experiencing in our hierarchy of management principles, like that. And an ideation expert could come in and probably help them with that situation where it expands out and it becomes more acceptable because the stupid questions or the stupid comments have been said and those are out of the way now, and you peel back the onion and you start spreading the palette farther and farther apart to get at the roots of the issue. And anyway, I don't know what the point of this one is other than I got the green screen working again, sort of, so I thought I would triad. And successes have been hard for me lately. I don't know what it is. Some problems just don't seem to go away, no matter how much ideation I take on them, how much I read about it. It's like I got to learn everything about Windows. I mean, everything. It's massive. I mean, I always realized it was massive, but I didn't realize it was this massive. And I understand software architectures and modules and linkings and all sorts of stuff. And but it's a struggle. Anyway, today was ideation, and you can look it up. It's an interesting concept, and I applied for a director position in a particular organization not too long ago. And I had nothing to offer other than what I tried to tell them was, I'm good at asking a lot of questions. Therefore, what I should have said is I'm an ideation guy. I can help with ideation. You get together and you've got a problem. I can throw out those stupid questions and make you rethink some of the boundaries that you currently had on a problem. And I'll keep asking questions and keep asking questions. That's my major talent that I bring to the table. Now, with the ideation people, they say that's just phase one. I understand that. Then you finally have to, there's no more to be stretched and pulled and pinched. And then you just you back off that. We're going to kill them all to some other more reasonable. Okay, well, how would we do this if we didn't kill them all, but we want them to be friendly as opposed to enemies? How do we do that? And then you start thinking about, well, okay, we could do it militarily, we could do it with money, we could do it, that's phase two. You start pulling back from the edges into the realms of possibilities that could be actually put in place. But first, you stake out the endpoints for which no one could go there. But it's beyond where you were when you sat down. That's enough for today. This is Uncle Ron's stuff, and this had to do with ideation. And I get my thumb in the picture. Today is the 15th of November, 2025 already.